everyone, my name is Zach REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and on this episode I'm joined by Face Yourself vocalist Yasmine Liverneaux. In this chat we discuss the band's brand new EP Martyr, signing to Sumerian Records, her adjustment to living in the US after moving away from her home in France, working with producer Joey Sturgis, including French lyrics in their music, and loads more. But just before we dive into all of that, there's just a few things that I want to shout out if you want to support me and the podcast. First off, if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast or any others, then please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're checking this out, and that way you also don't miss out on any future episodes. You can also leave a review or a comment, which helps to boost things up in the algorithm. You can also find and follow the podcast on social media to keep up to date with things there. There's a mailing list that you can subscribe to, and that way I'll keep you updated via email. And if you wanted to go one step further, there's also a Patreon and a web store if you did want to go and pick something up. I've shoved links to everything that I've just mentioned in the description of this episode, so it's super easy to find, or you can head to itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now, with all that out of the way, here's my chat with Yasmine Liverneaux of Face Yourself. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of the It's Not a Phase podcast, where I'm joined by Yasmine of Face Yourself. How's it going?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's kind of get into obviously the kind of big news for you guys. Most recently is obviously the brand new EP, Martyr. That was your fourth EP in total as a band, which dropped just a few days ago now via Sumerian Records. How do you feel about having this particular EP out there now in the world?
Honestly, it's really exciting because we haven't really published any music for a year. And on our first year of being a band, we released 3 EPs. So, after being a little bit silent for a while, we were actually cooking this EP. Right. So it's really exciting to have this out now. And we're really happy with the response so far. And it's really cool to have this new EP being our first with Sumerian Records. So we're really thankful for that.
Yeah, I mean, 3 EPs in 1 year, like your first year as a band as well. Like, I'm not surprised you took a little bit of a break, even though you were cooking things in the background in 2024. Like, yeah, it's just a relentless work ethic.
Oh yeah, I think, when we're 6 members in a band, there's just like never really a stop in songwriting. We're just like always writing new music. We just recorded new music like a week ago, so
Oh wow.
it's never the end with Face Yourself.
Yeah, just grind, it seems. But yeah, that's awesome that you just kind of have this constant flow of, I guess, creativity and just having these songs in the bank that you want to, get out there as soon as you can, really.
Oh yeah, I think it's just really fun when you have the time to write, or really when you have like a band with like multiple members who have different influences. There's just so much different influences in our songs, and there's always a lot of songs in the demo folder to be working on. For me as a vocalist, I can always like look whenever I feel inspired in the folder and just pick up a few songs and start working on them. So it's a really, really fun thing to do for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, we mentioned that obviously this is your first release via Sumerian, who I think you signed with at some point last year.
Yes.
So how did that signing come about? Like, were you guys shopping for labels? Did they come to you after, I guess, hearing, the stuff you were putting out that first year with those 3 different EPs?
So when we started as a band, we thought we would continue for a little longer independent because it worked pretty okay for us. And also, when you just start as a new band, you're very aware that things take time to just get some more opportunities. So we weren't really expecting to get those opportunities yet. We've had a few labels who we talked with, and nothing that went really far, just conversations. But Sumerian just ended up being like a really nice team. They're just really nice people, and they really are good partners to be working with. So it's really cool to have them being a part of the team now. And it still feels very surreal for us because it's just you know, we just like the band just turned two like a month ago, so
Yeah.
it's still really crazy for us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like things are going, in the grand scheme of things, really quick. Like there's some bands who go for twice as long as you guys, or even longer, who, don't get quite like a signing with a label like Sumerian. So yeah, really, I guess it really speaks to just, the kind of songs that you're putting out for that to materialize.
Yeah, honestly, I think we were just really lucky because just like you said, there's a lot of bands who have been working like way longer than us, and like I think what we do is nothing like crazy different or anything like that. We're just people who enjoy making music, and I would say it's a bit selfish for me, but I do music for myself first, and just because it makes me happy. And yeah, we just really didn't expect things to go that fast. And there's obviously like a lot of bands that deserve uh what we get and even more. So it's very like humbling experience for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's selfish, but I think it is the right way to go, create music for yourself first, because if you don't enjoy the music that you're making, then like why would you do it? Like first and foremost, it's like it's your like passion, right? It's like what you want to do, and if people are on board with it, that's even better.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just sometimes, you know, when you arrive at a point with a band, uh, and you start having people who listen to your music, they can expect certain things from you, which I understand. Like even me as a listener, uh, there are things that I want to hear from certain bands or certain artists. So, but I think when it comes to Face Yourself, it's just all like really a passion project. We've all been doing music for a very long time,
Yeah.
and there was always this ambition with Face Yourself of doing a serious project. We never thought of like getting like crazy opportunities or something like that, but more like we wanted to release music that we would be happy with like a good production that we would be happy with, and having touring opportunities, but it was never like, oh, we're gonna be huge and be rich and stuff like that. It was never the point, even though like we would love to make a living from it. I think it's the goal as of now. But if it would have to stop right now, we've talked about this a few times as a band, and if it would have to stop now, we would still be satisfied because we just met so many great new friends through this experience, and a lot of things that we're living right now are dreams that we've been dreaming of for years. So it's already a very positive experience overall.
Yeah, and it's quite a unique experience, isn't it? Because well, I guess we can kind of dive into this as part of my next question, which is, with this, this new label home and this new EP, you've got a lot of new eyes on you who don't know who Face Yourself are. This is like the first thing they've heard from you guys. Um, so I did want you to, if you didn't mind, obviously, to briefly explain how Face Yourself came to be, because you live in the US now, but that's not where you're from, and you live there now because of the band. So yeah, can you just briefly explain how the band came to be?
Sure. So it all started with Eric and Tom. So Eric works in the music industry as a music video director. So he does very often music videos for other bands, and he used to be a drummer in a band way before that. And Tom used to be in Sentinels. And Eric, after working in the industry as a videographer for so long, he wanted to get back to doing music. And he asked Tom to join him to start Face Yourself. And basically, what Eric did is because he worked with a lot of bands, he basically picked, he sold it to me as this. Like he picked all of his favorite members of each band he worked with and made
Okay.
it a band. Uh, except me. For me, I was in a band right before Face Yourself, and it ended sadly. And I thought to myself that if I didn't find a new project quickly, I would probably stop music for good because I've been in a few bands before that. And I told myself like you gotta put yourself out there. So I put a Instagram story saying that I was looking for a band, a deathcore band if possible, and I was willing to travel if the project was serious. And my friend Christian from Diamonds to Dust, we were online friends back then. He told me, "Oh, I got a friend, Eric. He just posted something about taking auditions for new members for his band." And he sent me the Facebook post, and I just commented on it. I had no idea who Eric was, and I was like, "Oh, I'm interested. I'm looking to join a project like that." And he sent me a demo, which was hypothermia,
Right.
and I just laid my vocals from on it from France, recorded everything in my bedroom, and a few weeks later he called me, and he started calling me regularly. I think just to feel my vibe, try to get to know me a little bit, to see how I would work, to see if I would be serious, because obviously with living in France and everything, it was, very like there's a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, you're not around
And
the corner, are you? So it's a little bit more difficult
yeah.
to get things sorted. Yeah.
Oh yeah, now it's so much easier. But yeah, we talked for a while, and then like he ended up calling me back. I remember I was watching the last episode of Breaking Bad. I was sick in bed, so I was crying because the last episode made me cry. And
Yeah.
then he called me and told me that basically I was selected to be the vocalist, and he asked me like, "Can you come to New York in like 3 weeks, a month?" And I was like, "Okay." And my dad was close. He was in the living room, so I just took the phone as Eric was talking to me, and just like gave the phone to my dad, and Eric and my dad started chatting, and yeah, then I went to New York to record the first EP, and then for a year we did that, and I ended up moving to the United States because I ended up meeting my husband, so that's the main reason why I moved here. But it obviously makes everything easier with the band, and my husband is in a band too, so
Yeah.
it's just easier for our life in general.
Yeah. Yeah. That must be crazy though. Like obviously you've moved there, with the band's there and obviously your husband is there. Um, but like what was that like for you to turn, kind of get to grips with, I guess, moving over to the US and kind of adjusting to living over there? Because obviously it's going to be very different to living in France, I imagine.
Yeah, it's definitely very different. I was starting to get used with like some different social norms, even though it's not like majorly different, but there are some things, Americans, they like to hug. They are very, very friendly. I don't think French people are not friendly, but we're more like a bit reserved, more
Yeah.
polite, as in Americans are very, very nice. And I was already starting to get used to it a little bit because of hanging with my band so much and visiting my husband before we were married. And yeah, now that I'm here, like I've been here for a year now, and definitely moving to another country, the process is long. Obviously, there's an immigration process and all that. So it's definitely a long process. It's not easy. There were times, obviously that when you speak English every day and you don't have anyone from your country here, and you have to adapt to things that just don't make a lot of sense to you because it's not how you do things back at home.
Yeah.
It's hard, but I think after a year now, I'm starting to like be more and more comfortable. And obviously, like the band is clearly like my group of best friends, and um, I'm very happy to have like good people surrounding me. And I think we just really became a little family. So
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, it makes it easier that there's people already there that you are friends with. Obviously, your husband as well. But like you say, it's just a little thing, isn't it? Like over here in the UK, we don't have it, but in the US, you go to a shop and they don't have the tax on the foods until you get to the checkout. I don't know if that's the way it is in France.
yeah,
I've never been to France before, but that's just like just a tiny thing, but it's just completely different to how it is over here.
yeah, it's definitely something that surprised me with time. Is every time you go to a restaurant and you see how much it costs on the card, on the menu, you know that this is not what you're gonna pay because there's the
Yeah,
tips on top of that, and like the taxes and everything. Of course, it's like a lot of things to think about. And it's also like depending where you live, there's a lot of things you can do by walk. And obviously, when I was in France, I used to take like the bus or walk a lot, and the public transportation is not the same here. I'm lucky that I live in a area very close to the uh, lower downtown, so I can walk pretty much everywhere now. But yeah, it's definitely some things are very different, but you get used to it with time.
Yeah, yeah, like you say, you've been there for a year now, so I guess it's most of it's just kind of like second nature to you now. There's no real difference. So yeah, it's good that you kind of like you've settled in and it's not too alien for you or anything like that.
Yeah, I think it was really like the first few months, like even going to grocery stores, how the products are very different, and
Yeah.
it everything is huge there. Like you have those huge like stores, and they have so many like different products, and like it's not the same kind of products they sell, and they're not placed in the same area. You think this kind of product will be here, and then it's not here because
Yeah.
they place other stuff. Like I notice that less and less now because I'm used to it. But when my parents came to visit recently, they had a little hard time to be like, oh, why are the eggs in the fridge or stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like because I went over there a few years ago, and like even just going into like a Walmart, and then you just see like that whole section with all the guns on the wall, and that's like completely different to what
Yeah,
it's like over here as well. Whoa.
yeah, it's definitely a culture shock when it comes to those things.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any like particular like snacks or anything from France you don't get over there that you kind of miss or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Honestly, one of the main things is I really like chips, and from France there's this one brand, it's called Brett's, and they just do chips like flavored to a lot of like different kind of flavors, and I just really miss this brand. And also like the chocolate place I used to go by the apartment I used to live in. I really miss it, but I did find a new store that opened recently by my apartment here, and it's actually owned by a French person.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, and it's really good. I literally went yesterday to get the Easter chocolates, and now I have one person I know who speaks French around me. That's the only French person I know around me.
Oh wow, like of all the places like just around the corner from you, that's yeah, that's good.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was really like a good coincidence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. If we return just to the band, like I think we mentioned before, obviously the first three EPs that came out across 2023. And I think I've heard you kind of sometimes refer to them more as like demos in your mind. I don't know if that's like still how you kind of feel. How do you know how those kind of EPs like came together? Was all that material kind of all written in advance, then you just divvied it up across the year?
Well, it was definitely a process that we did that we kept for those first three EPs, and we changed how we approach things now. But
Yeah,
when we started, so when I joined Face Yourself, and I flew there, um, what I did is like I basically had a month before I went there to try to write as much vocals in advance on the already selected songs, because when Tom and Eric started the band, they already had a few demos and songs they were sure they were gonna release.
right,
So those songs I had to work on a little bit in advance, except Grosse Bagarre. Grosse Bagarre we wrote really last minute, but all of those first three EPs we recorded in Eric's basement. So every time I would come for a week, and it would be a week of recording all that plus doing the music videos, and we did that
right,
for all three EPs. The second EP, so the writing process happened when I was still working in the film industry, and I had a really good opportunity for my career back then. I worked on a Netflix show, and this show lasted for month and month. So I spent like almost 3 months of going back and forth on this set, which was also pretty far from where I lived in France. So it was a lot of traveling. And also, when you work on movies and stuff like that, usually I remember we were a bit behind schedule, and so I wouldn't sleep a lot. and I was staying at this hotel, so I couldn't do vocals because I was sleeping like 4 hours a night for like 3 months. It was crazy. It was not like all the 3 months glued together, but I would go like 2 or 3 weeks in the month and then go back, and then you know it lasted like this, and it was just so much energy. So at this moment, I let the guys write almost everything without me, which is something I told them I don't want to do anymore. So after that, the last EP, Tales of Death, uh, I started writing that during the summer, and we were going to release it in the fall. And because it was like August when I started writing the lyrics, I was feeling the vibe of Halloween coming, and
Okay.
so I wanted to do like a theme EP around like myth and legends and stuff like that. And now we take the time to write everything, because we used to do that really quickly, and every time with the traveling for everyone, because even Corey is in Denver and the rest of the band is in Jersey, so you have to organize into like having a few weeks in a year where you can all be together to record. And now that everyone lives, at least in America, even though in different states, it's easier to just like organize and have the time to fix deadlines, because now that we have a label, they also have like a calendar on, because they have many other bands that they work with, so they have a release calendar, and so it helps us like fixing ourselves some deadlines
Yeah.
instead of writing everything. And I think that's one of the things that makes Martyr a good EP as well, is because we just had the time to like work on this, not alone this time, with a producer as well, Joey Sturgis. And he's the one who made the selection of the songs, because we sent him like 15 songs, I think,
Oh
and
wow.
he chose those five. So it was cool to have also someone who has an outside perspective on our work, to just be able to pick what he felt matched really good together. So that definitely helped. And now I think we are approaching things with a more professional way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've kind of led me on to like the next question I want to ask you is, about working with Joey Sturgis. He's got quite a extensive, catalogue of bands he's already worked with and albums he's worked on. Yeah, what was it like working with him and having his hands and his input on this EP?
Well, it was honestly so, I don't know how to say that, but so like fluid, so easy.
Yeah,
Because when we started talking to him, it was actually someone from the label that referred him to us, because he works a lot with like metalcore bands, and he mentioned that he wanted to try to work with a deathcore band to change. He wanted to work on something really heavy, and so someone from the label just told him um, that there was us who were looking for a producer. And so we just got in contact like that, and we made a group chat on Messenger, and we just started talking. So I think the really fun part about this EP is that um, he tried, uh, I don't know if it's new for him, because obviously there's a lot of things that you find in deathcore that are in metalcore too. But I think just working on a project that was a bit different than usual, for him, it was just fun to do something a little bit different. And also, we really had like a really cool communication going on. Like we sent him some songs of bands that we like, and be like, "Oh, that's the sound we like. We like impacts like that. We like this kind of riffs. This is the kind of sound we're looking for." And after a few communication, I think we all arrived at a point where we really understood each other, and it was really easy after that. Like he is a true professional. Everything just happens so fast, because he just like, once you start recording the vocals, like between just me taking a sip of water, he's already editing the vocals. He just works so fast and efficiently, so it's so cool to work with him. And yeah, he ended up just becoming a friend of the band, and now we have group chats where we just send memes every day. So
they're the best kind of group chats. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's that's cool then, isn't it? Because you've obviously gone in there with a brand new experience of working with Joey and with a producer like that, and he's got new experience himself because he wanted to work with a more deathcore focused band, and you were kind of the guinea pig, the experiment in that.
Yeah, but I think, it ended up like going just so well. And it went so well that we just recorded new music with him like a couple weeks ago. So I think this thing is working. Like this band and him as a producer, it's a good relationship. So
Yeah.
it just works for us. And I think now like we're really at a point where I think we're also improving our songwriting in general because obviously when you start doing music in the first few years of a band, you're just trying to kind of figure out what you want to do, especially when you're six members. We all have very, very different tastes.
Right.
So, but yeah, I think we're getting there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it worked and it's not broken, don't fix it. So why not go back to him and write some more songs? Is that how's that kind of shaping up then? Are you thinking of maybe doing like another EP, or is there talks of an album? I mean, I imagine there's not a lot too much you want to reveal or anything like that.
For now, in all honesty, I don't know how those songs are going to be released. I don't know if
Right,
it's going to be singles or EP or album. We do want to do an album, so it's something that we're definitely gonna work on um, maybe this year or next year. I'm not sure yet, but for now, it's just that from the first collection of songs that we sent him, we had more songs out of this collection that we really liked, and we
right.
just felt like recording them now. So that's what we did, just because we really like those songs, and I don't know yet how it's gonna be released. I don't know if it's coming this year or not. I think so, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing is there's new music that's been recorded and it's in the pipeline. So at some point we're going to hear new music in the foreseeable future from you guys.
Yes, Martyr is definitely just the beginning. We have like this demo folder is always growing. There's always more songs in the work, so there's definitely more music coming.
Yeah, yeah. And I noticed as well on the EP you've got like I think it's on the opening track, the closing track you've got like the like voice samples like of oh this is well produced and stuff like that. Like how did those samples come into there? Like how did that idea come about?
So it's actually a kind of an inside joke in the band, but basically, our lead guitarist, Dave, his mom is like the coolest. She always like listens to our music when it's in progress, and she sends Dave like vocal messages like, "Oh, I really like that part" and stuff like that. And basically, those samples you hear, it's her reacting to us working on songs.
Oh
It's
wow,
like
okay.
when she's like, "Good stuff. That's all I have for now," because she makes like the long messages of like 1 minute and says, "Oh, I really like that." And that's all I have for now. And like the beginning of Primal is also her like uh originally she was not saying I finally listened to Face Yourself. She was talking about I think another musician or another band, and we ended up asking her to re-record this as Face Yourself, just so it sounds a little bit like someone who is a bit like mocking us as
Yeah.
yeah, because now we're on a label and she says like oh, they got a lot of resources behind them,
Yeah.
but then we end up like doing a primal song. So it's really cool that she's down, like she was down to be on those samples, and we just like really like her. She's very supportive of the band, so we thought it would be cool to have her included on the EP.
Yeah, I think it adds like an extra like as a deathcore band, you know, you're quite like aggressive and obviously heavy with your music, but there's also like funny elements to you guys, like the deathcore soundboard and stuff like that. And I think having those like sound bites and that kind of like adds to the fact like, hey, you guys like to joke around and goof around and stuff.
Oh yeah, I think it's also like it's just how we are together. We're always joking around, but also samples. They're kind of like a part of like OG deathcore. You find that
Yeah.
like in Old Job for a Cowboy with the scream. I think there's like so many songs that have samples like that, and so keeping this, even though our approach is a bit more modern deathcore, it's cool to still have hints of like more old school things, just to like show like, yes, we are aware of the culture of the music, and it's just like a little hint to people who were doing this before us. It's like a homage in a way to keep this kind of stuff alive.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's like back then, like in the MySpace days, I guess, like it was always like, film samples, wasn't it? Or TV samples and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a nod to that, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And I also noticed, the song The Poet, like that song's almost entirely in French. I know you obviously have some French lyrics in some other songs, but she's just like an odd line or two that here and there. Can you just talk to me a bit more about that? Like, obviously you're from France and that's your first language, but was there any like apprehension for you guys in terms of, adding French lyrics? So I guess like if your main market is the US or something like that, then maybe there's the risk, I suppose, of people, I don't know, not connecting with French lyrics quite as much or anything like that.
It's definitely a conversation we had multiple times, because we definitely have an audience that's more US based. We don't, I think, like in the most listeners we have, I think it's US, Canada, Australia, and France is like really far behind. Like I think it's seven in
Right.
the most listened. So, but it was definitely a thing. Like that's why sometimes I put a little bit of French here and there. But there's always this fear of, when you write songs, it's also cool to think about how they're gonna be live. So I like to also write stuff based on how I feel like this is a line that people are gonna scream back to my face. Like I can point the microphone towards the crowd, and then they know this line. So it's definitely something that we thought about, and that's why we avoided writing complete French songs for a while. Um, this one is a bit different though, because it's actually a text that I wrote right before it was supposed to be a song, and the
Right.
band was really aware of that. I told them that someday I would love to put that on a song, but I just didn't feel like we had the song yet that would match that, and I also just didn't really feel ready to share that, because it's a little bit of a more personal lyrical content. But this song just ended up being like working out with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think as well, like, even though it's I guess English lyrics would connect more. I mean, you look at a band like Rammstein, like almost all their lyrics are German and they're massive. So I don't think it's like something that would completely like disconnect. And then at the same time, if a certain word in French might sound or rhyme better with the next line than if it was the same word in English, right?
Yeah, it can definitely be implied in the musicality of a song. And that's the thing that I often hear from French people themselves. They don't like listening to songs that are with French lyrics, because they feel like it sounds less hard or
Right.
like less cool, which I get, because I can feel like that about some songs as well. But I think it's just the way we approach Martyr in general is, especially for the lyrical content. It's the first time that I've put something that's more personal. I think it's really hard when you do music that is very like tough guy shit kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like free violence just for the fun, which I think is great. Like Primal is a song like that, for example. But um like getting more vulnerable and being more yourself in songs is hard when you, obviously we're not like a huge band or anything, but when you start to have like people who listen to your music, and they send you messages, or they just look at what you do on social media, it's a bit harder to be more vulnerable, because you don't really want people to appropriate some stuff that you say or feel. And so that's definitely something that I needed time before I could write about those kind of subjects. But I think in the end, like there is like this is deathcore is violent music, and there is nothing more violent than reality. So talking about stuff that are very real to you, you can make very efficient emotional message through metal in general, I think.
Yeah, I know. I guess depending on what the subject's about and like your connection with it at the time, I guess writing lyrics about whatever the experience was, and then putting that into a song that thousands of people will hear for potentially, I guess, forever, and performing it live as well. Sometimes that can actually be some kind of like remedy or cathartic for you as well.
Yeah, it's definitely how I try to approach that, because when uh, I started writing those lyrics, because usually I like to write lyrics based on the instrumental that the guys send. But this time I really wrote a lot of text in advance and then associated them with the instrumental as they were getting written. And because when I moved here for a long time, when you just adjust to new country and you get your papers in order, there's like it's a lengthy process before you can start being active and start working and stuff like that. So there was a long time before I could just like join back the band and all that. And so I spent a lot of time like alone, just like sitting with my thoughts a lot. And obviously, like, I mean, I'm okay, but
Yeah.
when there's times that it can feel a little bit lonely, and when you sit with yourself a lot, sometimes there's a lot of negative thoughts that can go back to you, and a lot of things that I've been through when I was in my teenage years, I've really like erased or pushed away. And now that I had time, because I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm really happy, like I everything is going well in my life, and I think maybe I was like supposed to face some of those buried emotions just so I can move on and continue being okay. And I kind of use that to write those lyrics. A lot of it is mental health focused. A lot of those things are based on like very modern subjects, I think. Mostly the poets, because the poet is actually about cyberbullying. And
Right.
the way I wrote it is the poet is like the bully, and the way like with his writings, uh, because the chorus is written on the base of the poet, and the rest is wrote from the perspective of the victim. And so the poet is writing about how he's going to like destroy someone's reputation by putting like all those writings on the wall of shame, which is basically the your wall on internet, on your social media.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's a thing that I think a lot of people go through. Like I was born with internet and social media, and so I've seen a lot of people getting bullied in my life. I was uh one of them, and I don't think it makes me special or anything, because obviously a lot of people go through that way much more than I could even imagine. But I've seen that happen to a lot of my close friends as well. And there's just like a huge power of how a community can make something so beautiful but also like destroy it. And you see that also with like child stars and stuff like that, and how like very young people can sadly like decide to take themselves away from this world because things things like that, of like pure hates. And this song is like based on those things. And yeah, it's obviously a little more vulnerable, but because that happened to me when I was literally a kid, and I'm
Yeah.
adult now, I have enough distance to not be hurt by those things. Like obviously when you do music, there's a lot of people who dislike what you do, and they very freely put very mean stuff online. But those things, like, I really couldn't care less now. But because I see younger people trying music as well. And like when I started posting like vocal covers and stuff like that when I was young, I've had people telling me to stop singing because I sing terribly and I was terrible. And like you shouldn't let stuff like that just get to you, because you can start at like, you know, art's accessible to anyone really. If you're a beginner, or if you've been doing this forever, if you're an excellent musician, or if you really suck, you never know what can happen if you keep practicing. I was terrible when I started doing vocals, and now we are a band signed to a label, and we have people who listen to our music, which is unbelievable when you think about it, but you never know what can happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, first off, I'm glad that like you're okay. And I think it's good that you're putting out these kind of messages that maybe, you kind of distance yourself from it so you're okay now. But sometimes people listening to songs and reading those lyrics and they can connect and that can help them through those certain times. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's the nature of the beast with the internet and social media. Like there's a lot of bad people out there who will only do bad things and nasty things and say nasty things. And unfortunately, there's no matter what you do, there's always going to be at least one person out there who has a problem with it. So yeah, you've just got to keep on working on what you want to do. And like you say, you're proof of that. Like you said, you weren't very good with your vocals to begin with, and now look at you, you're living in America with your band, you've got a label, you've got all these EPs and fans there. So yeah, that's the that's the end result, I suppose.
yeah, I mean, in the end, like those are things that happen to a lot of people, and I
Mm.
think um, because it's a very like modern problem nowadays, I feel like a lot of young people go through that. It was important to like mention that
Yeah.
because it's not just like related to art. Like obviously people are free. Like I don't get offended or mad when people say that they don't like our band or that we suck or that my vocals might be fake or things like that. Like because it's also freedom of speech. People can say whatever they want because when you put your art out there, you have to be okay with people not liking it, which I'm fine with because me as a person, there's also bands I don't really like. There's music I like less than others. I mean, I don't feel like putting it out there and telling everyone, "Oh, this sucks."
Yeah.
Uh, I'm okay with people saying that about us and any forms of art. Really, it's fine, but it's important to be mindful when you have like children, teenagers, people who are more fragile, and just remember that sometimes you're talking to a human being. People are reading what you post, so.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I think what people fail to do is think before they speak or think before they post. I think that's like the main disconnect. They don't kind of it's to them it's just a screen, it's not a real person, and it's just like, yeah, you need to think more about what you say and who that's going to like reach and who that's going to impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also like a work that everyone has to do on themselves, like learn to be ready to face stuff like that, even though like it's not fair. No one should go through things like this, but it happens, and sadly the world is not going to change just because some people are hurt, and we live in a very unfair world. That's just
Yeah.
how things are. And it's important to like when you do music or when you find people who are supportive, it's good to have just something to relate to whenever you go through difficult things, because no matter what, everyone in the world has been through something, and it doesn't have to be, it can be bullying, or they lost someone in their life, or they got an illness. You never know, everyone goes through something. So I think it's just cool as people to like build a community and um just learn to be more I don't know how to say that in English, acceptance.
Yeah, accepting.
Yes, accepting
Yeah.
things like that,
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And in terms of that community, um you're going to be bringing them along, I guess, with the tour you've got coming in July with Crystal Lake, Victims, and Not Enough Space. Looks like a killer tour. How are you feeling about that?
Honestly, so excited. It's really cool to be doing finally a tour as the full lineup, so that's really exciting. And also like I would say we know a few people who are on this tour. Like I've met Victims a few times. It's actually Meredith who mentioned that she would love for us to open the tour. So that's how we got on this tour. So very thankful for her.
That's cool.
We have the same booking agent, so that's how she asked if we could be on it. So yeah, there's definitely like a few people that we are familiar with on this tour. So I think it's going to be just a really fun experience overall because honestly, I have no idea how it's going to look like because for Kyle and I, it's going to be our first tour. So it's going to be definitely an experience. We're going to have to learn the hard way because I'm very aware tour is not easy.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's going to come out. We don't know if it's going to be successful for us or not. But it's definitely going to be fun to at least have some people around us that we know and we are good friends with. I think it's just going to be a really cool experience overall, and just finally getting to meet some people from different states, seeing how people respond to our music live too, because obviously we have a lot of support online and we're very thankful for that, because we wouldn't be doing anything that we're doing now if it wasn't for how much people have been like just sharing our music and buying our merch and just like telling their friends about us. So that's definitely thanks to people's support, and I think it's going to be really fun to get to finally meet people in real life and being able to thank them in person as well.
Yeah, yeah, and you're gonna be able to see how these new songs on the new EP are going down live with people. Like you might be like incredibly surprised at how many people know the words and stuff like that. So I imagine it's gonna go really well. I know, like you say, it's kind of like a first tour for you, but just take each day as it comes, and I'm sure you'll do fine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will be okay. I don't think it will be easy because obviously there's a lot of things that go into tour that makes it complicated, like the lack of sleep and a lot of traveling, and it will be hard to eat healthy and all that. But I still think it's gonna be like a very positive experience overall. I'm just trying to like I always approach that for any job I have, anything I have to do. I always try to think like how to approach things with a realistic point of view. And I try to be realistic and be like, yeah, this is gonna be so fun, but this is also gonna be hard.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best way to do it. Like just be realistic and yeah, just take each day as it comes and yeah, just enjoy it as much as you can, I suppose. Like obviously there's gonna be it's not gonna be perfect the whole way through. There's gonna be challenges, but I'm sure it'll be worth it anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
especially with the band, like we are all really close friends now, so I think it will be definitely a good group of friends just hanging together as we do. It's just with a little less sleep, but we're gonna have more friends around, and more people to meet, and more music too. And that's basically like a goal that we've had for so long. I mean, even before Face Yourself, we all dreamed of an opportunity like that. So it's definitely like a great experience for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And what other plans have you got for 2025? Like obviously there's that tour and you said you've recently recorded some more music. Is there any other plans in the pipeline at the moment?
So definitely more music. I don't know if it's gonna be released this year,
Hmm.
but it's getting recorded, getting done, and maybe another tour. I can't say much, but maybe more this year. And yeah, I think just like working on more things for ourselves and for people as well, because obviously people also have an expectation. I've seen a lot of questions about an album. I promise we will be working on that. I don't know when, but we hear you. We're going to do that. And obviously, more touring. Um, we've already had like a few talks about that. So we're just really excited to really start that because obviously it will take um, more time over the writing process, because right now we can write a lot because we're not touring yet. But as soon as we start touring, it's definitely like I hope we get to tour more and more, because that's how we can like put our music out there and maybe get just more opportunities to bring more as well, because maybe traveling, uh, doing more tours outside of the US, I hope. So we recently started working with Avocado Booking. So hopefully a Europe tour, maybe in 2026. I'm not sure yet, but this is something in the talks.
Awesome. Well, I'll keep an eye out for any UK dates so I can catch you guys when you pop over onto this side of the pond.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I
Yeah.
haven't been to the UK in so long. The only time I went was in London because I was a tourist,
Right.
but I went to see Lady Gaga.
Oh, did you? Okay. When was that?
It was it was in 2014, I think. I think it was in
Right.
2014. But yeah, I was 15. I think I was in high school. It was my first year of high school, I remember.
Wow. Do you enjoy the new album then? Is it Mayhem's the new one, isn't it?
It's so good. I'm so sad I can't make it to her tour this year because this album is just so good. I really like the Chromatica Ball. It was such a good tour. Um, but I think this one is gonna be really, really good, especially after the performance she did in Coachella. I'm
Yeah.
like, Mother is back.
Yeah, I think the monster is the one that always kind of like connects most with me. But yeah, I've not had a chance to listen to Mayhem just yet, so I'll that's on the to-do list. That's on the to listen list. So I'll get around to it.
It's really good. It has a lot of like disco, funk, rock kind of influence. There's a lot of things that kind of remind me of her very first album, The Fame, because she had a lot of like disco influence there and here and there. So yeah, but it's a really good album, honestly. I love how she trolled everyone with like releasing Abracadabra, and everyone was expecting like a pop album, and then it was like literally everything. There's
Yeah,
everything on this album, I think makes it so good.
yeah. I think she's one of the few artists where she can just put out pretty much anything and she kind of kills it each time.
Oh yeah, she like I don't know how you say that in English, but like she has so many brushes in her kit.
Yeah, yeah. So to me, like just a wide breadth of different sounds and yeah, different like I say different tools in her kit, I guess.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Well, Yasmin, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate chatting to you today. Any final words before I let you go?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Always appreciate getting to talk to people who are also from other countries because it's cool to see that Pace Yourself is heard uh, in other countries than in the US. So it's really cool. So thanks for having me and helping us with that. And yeah, um, Martyr is out, and we just released a music video for Primal. And yeah, just a little thank you to everyone for getting us there because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people supporting us. So I always try to thank the people.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Yasmin. Like I said, I'll let you go. Hopefully see you on this side of the show soon. And yeah, best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Of course, take care of yourself.
Bye.
Bye. And that's it. Thanks so much for tuning in to It's Not a Phase. If you enjoyed this episode, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Leave a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the podcast on social media. And maybe even join the Patreon or grab some merch from the store. You can find everything that you need at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again. Hopefully catch you on the next one. And remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.